Now, this weekend, we saw the beginning of the European Championships. The big match of the weekend, I suppose, was the hosts playing Croatia. Of course, there were other games. The Netherlands last night scraping through against Ukraine 3-2. But the big game was England and Croatia. I'm joined now by John Giles to discuss what we've seen so far of the championship. John, just before we get to the football, Christian Eriksen on Saturday, a very, very serious situation. Denmark were playing Finland and he fell. Nobody was near him. His heart had stopped, we now know. And for a while, people feared that he had died on the pitch. It has happened in football before. It was a very shocking incident, John. Even from the distance we were watching it, it was impossible not to feel a sense of horror and fear. Thank God he has recovered sufficiently, to talk, and he's in hospital now, hopefully in the process of recovery. It was a terrible moment, John. And the players, his teammates in particular, rallied round him. They protected him so people couldn't see. And one of them, Carr, the captain, apparently had a critical part to play in saving his life. It was a bad moment, wasn't it, John? And then it was made worse afterwards by UEFA's behaviour.
Yeah, it was dreadful, Eamon. I thought he was gone.
Yes.
With the amount of time was in it, so it shows you how good the medical people are nowadays, Eamon.
Yes.
And like we often say, well, who's that? Who's that?
Yeah.
But obviously they are, because you go back to our day, Eamon.
Yeah.
We didn't even have a doctor travelling with us.
No, I don't know. No.
Now, I know it's a long time ago, so it shows you quite rightly how well it's improved, because without those medical people there...
and the defibrillator was there, so, I mean, that's huge.
Exactly.
A critical piece of equipment to save his life, to get his breathing going again. His heart had stopped.
Yeah, it was critical that they do have what they have nowadays. There's no, or else he would have been a goner, Eamon.
Yes,
and it was very sad to watch, as we know. When I know you were watching it, I was watching it, and with the amount of time that was going by, I really thought he had gone. So they did a great job on him, and hopefully. The poor lad will recover. I don't know if he'll recover entirely, Eamon, to be able to play again. Probably unlikely, but at least he's alive. I think his girlfriend, his wife, was there at the match as well.
Yes.
Oh God, it was a dreadful time to watch, even to watch it.
Yes, and I thought the players, Kasper Schmeichel particularly, but all of the players showed leadership, and they conducted themselves with great dignity. Now, John, an issue arose then, of course. That UEFA, apparently we didn't know at the time, but insisted that they had two teams had a choice. One was to go out and finish the 50 minutes that was left, 5 minutes of a first half and then a 45-minute second half, or to play the next day at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Peter Schmeichel, Kasper Schmeichel's father, has come out today and declared that UEFA didn't give them any choice except when they wanted to finish this game, which seems rather cruel, to put it mildly.
Heartless, Eamon.
Yeah.
Heartless.
Yeah.
All they're concerned about is a football tournament, and these lads haven't gone through what they went through. And poor Christian Eriksen as well, to be put in football and the fixtures in front of a situation like that is absolutely outrageous.
Yeah.
I mean, why didn't it give them a point each, Eamon?
Yes, yeah.
And nobody would have complained about that.
No.
But all they're worried about is that the fixtures in a situation like this.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgraceful.
Yeah.
Disgraceful.
And just in passing, we all know now how avaricious and the people that run football are at club level, and probably worse with FIFA and UEFA. there was a moment at the beginning of the tournament, the Italian game on against Turkey on Friday night, the first match of the tournament, and it was held in Rome. And the referee had no ball when he went to the centre circle, and the ball came out in a little toy Volkswagen car. Volkswagen are one of the principal sponsors, and I just thought, I just thought, how greedy, how many ways will they find to actually get an extra few shillings? It was really quite disgusting. I'm sure you did know.
I saw it, Eamon. Yeah, I saw it, and I saw it going on the pitch.
Yeah,
and I knew straight away. This is an advert.
Yeah,
this is a money maker.
Taking the ball, and it couldn't have been a lot of money, but obviously the sponsor suggested or maybe insisted that they do this. It was actually wrong.
It's as you say, cheap. Eamon.
Cheap, yeah.
That's all. They're cheap. They're a few quid extra with the money that they have.
Yeah.
It shows you what they're like, on a commercial situation.
Yeah.
Actually, to think about the ball for the match.
Yes.
We're going to make a few bob on.
Yeah.
In the way that they do it.
Yeah. With a little.
I mean, it's no wonder that the people get fed up with them. I mean, the greed that we saw there when the matches were that Manchester United and Liverpool and all the top six. I mean, the greed that was shown there.
Yeah.
And they walked into it in many ways, especially in England.
Yeah.
It's just money all the time, and all the decision that they were making the other day.
Yeah.
On the Eriksen case, is a very sad situation.
Yeah.
It's definitely just all about money. It must have been the television money or something. I mean,
Anyway, let's move on to the football, John.
Okay.
Actually, we could start with the first match. Italy, comfortable winners. I thought Turkey were extremely disappointing. Now, Italy under Mancini, who, don't forget, I'm sure you won't forget, he won Premier League with Manchester City, and he's the Italian manager now. That was their 28th game without defeat, and they won 3-0 in the end. I didn't think the hype that followed about Italy's chances of winning the championship was justified. I thought it was as much to do with the Turks not really having the appetite or the experience for it.
No, and they were very poor in Turkey. They certainly made it easy for Italy, and Italy, as you would expect, took advantage of it.
Yeah.
So it was very hard to judge them.
Yes.
Mancini seems to be a peculiar character. I read a bit about him and what he does in the dressing room or what he did at Manchester City. Apparently, he fell out with the players, and he was, getting his tie and fixed and properly after the match after being beaten. But there again, all managers, they're not usually straightforward characters, Eamon. But the thing is, which obviously you've just alluded to, that is getting the results. Which is incredible.
Yeah.
So, you can never write them off, Eamon, can you?
No, and Italy's a great footballing country. They've had a great history in World Cups, in particular in World Cups. And they've had some of the greatest players in the history of the sport. But this is non-vintage team. And just a final thought on Mancini, he dresses well, John. I thought he was the best looking and the best outfitted coach I've ever seen on the touchline. Wasn't a hair out of place, and he had a lovely tin of fruit. Everything was great.
Yeah. He looked the part, all right, Eamon. Just to get back to the playing parts, as you know, we all been great admirers of Bonucci and Chiellini, Eamon.
Yeah.
That could be a possible problem later on, because they are getting on a bit. Are they going to have the pace to do it?
No.
But I heard one of them talking, I think it was Chiellini, saying, well, it's great now because we have a lot of these young fellas covering the ground. That's not putting us under so much pressure,
No,
but that's the only fear I would have for them. That when they get against better opposition, will these two lads still be able to do what they've done for years and years?
Yeah, Chiellini's had a tough season for Juventus as well, where age has caught up with that team as well. But now we can move on to what was probably the main event for most people, which is England against Croatia at Wembley yesterday. And the first shock of the day came when we saw the team, John, with Kieran Trippier playing left back. It meant that Luke Shaw and Ben Chilwell, both outstanding left backs, and Chilwell, a Champions League winner with Chelsea, were left out. Trippier, who hasn't got a left foot at all, he's a right full back, played at left back. I was astonished by it, and I know because we spoke, you were pretty surprised yourself.
I was very surprised. I mean, I never put Trippier on the team at left back. No. When I was what thought would be my take on the team. Yeah, was Chilwell and Luke Shaw. Yeah, have been the outstanding left backs this season. There's no doubt about that. So, but it's amazing when you get the reaction afterwards. It's like Southgate is a genius for doing what he did, and Sterling shouldn't have been in the team. Sterling played very well and got the winning goal. But I was just thinking when I was watching it, if Pep Guardiola is watching this, what's he going to think about Sterling now? I mean, he hasn't kicked the ball for him for 6 months. No. And now he comes in and he's full of go and obviously scored a goal. Yeah,
the Trippier decision was I thought perverse.
Yeah, I couldn't make it out. I've never thought about him in the team. Like, I mean, we're all picking. Well, not all. I mean, some people. In my head, I'm picking the England team, and I'm thinking, well, would I pick Chilwell or would I pick Luke Shaw? Trippier never came across my mind at all, Eamon. No. So, but all's well that ends well for Southgate, Eamon, and you see the papers this morning.
I do. Yeah.
He's very nearly a genius in the papers that I've seen today.
We'll see how that project goes.
Yeah, exactly.
They play Scotland on Friday, and I've just. In passing, I always think they're tough games. If you're playing Wales or Scotland and you're England, it's tough because the players, you've played against them. There won't be any sense of Scotland being overawed, even though it's at Wembley. And I think the Scots will have a right go at them. It won't be by any means an easy match for England, will it?
No, it never is. It shouldn't be anyway with the Scottish, with Scots, with the spirit that they generally have. You know. But I think, to be fair to England, they deserve to win the game, Eamon.
Yes, and I want to talk to you about Phillips, Kalvin Phillips, the Leeds player, who you've been talking to me about all season, saying how good he is. I think he's a local lad.
He is, yeah.
And has he come through the academy at Leeds?
Yeah.
Extraordinary. He was brilliant for the goal, but he was brilliant all through the game, John. He tested the goalkeeper in the first half with a volley, which really was very difficult and technically very adroit. He looks a hell of a player. I didn't realise until yesterday how good he was. Yeah,
he's a lot of ability, Eamon. And like when I see him playing for Leeds, he's sort of a holding midfield player. Yeah, which I think with the ability that he has, he can do a lot more than he does, particularly at Leeds. Now, he played well yesterday for England. But when he's playing for England, he's sort of a holding midfield player. And when the ball gets forward, he sits back where he could get onto it again, He just has more in him. He has the ability. He's a brilliant distributor of the ball.
Yeah, and the pass for Sterling yesterday with his left foot was weighted perfectly.
Yeah, he's not bad on his left side either, Eamon. Right. But he's a well talented lad. Now, when I saw him playing yesterday, Eamon, he was obviously encouraged to get well forward with the ball, which he doesn't do at Leeds. Right. Now, I don't agree with that, to be quite honest. Right. I think he should play as a midfield player and still be able to do what he did. Yeah. Right, because when England play against better oppositions and they want him to do that, he's going to be lost, Eamon. Right. He won't get on the ball. In other words, he is a midfield player along with Rice. Now, I think what they said yesterday was, Rice, you hold your ground. That's right, and let him go. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Now, I don't agree that for him. I think midfield players should go when it's on to go and stay when it has to stay. Doing all stuff. So it suited him yesterday, Eamon. Right. It suited him down to the ground because he can play and he was getting in these forward positions. But I think if they play against better opposition and he asks them to do that, he won't get the ball.
Right.
But when he's on it, Eamon, he is good. And it's a genuine. I think when I'm playing, I think I said to you before, when he's playing for Leeds, I think he can do more with the ability that he has.
Okay.
Now he played very well yesterday, and he made the big difference for the goal. There's no doubt about that. He is very, very talented lad.
Now, John, Harry Kane, he was anonymous really in the game, and that can happen. The way games work out, people did comment on it. Everybody commented on it because he is such an important figure for England, and because he's had such a really another outstanding season for Spurs. Was it just one of those days? People suggesting maybe he's weary after a long, hard season, and I wouldn't blame him for that. But there wasn't much sight of him.
No, he never got on the ball, Eamon.
No,
it didn't. It's not as if he got on the ball and gave it away or missed chances. I mean, he had one chance which he defended very well. You remember he went into the post. So, it'd be one of those games, if he'd knocked that in, he'd say, well, he wasn't in the game, but he scored again. Yeah. But it wasn't the Harry Kane that we're used to in the way that they were actually playing England. He was coming deep, but he wasn't getting on the ball.
Yeah.
It was just maybe the way they had it set up with Phillips so far forward and doing what they did. And that's where I'd go back to when they do play, if they play against better teams, Eamon. Phillips won't get the ball, and he'd be running into positions that Harry Kane would be in. Do you know what I mean?
I do, yeah. I mean, Croatia clearly, they're not the team they were. They've lost several players from the team that played France in the World Cup final in 2018. They have Modric, of course, who's 35 now and still played really well, I thought, yesterday. But they don't have the quality now that they had back in the day.
No. But funny enough, Eamon, if Modric was playing for England yesterday, he was very effective in what he had to do.
He was,
when they were up against it. He calmed it down for them. He brought them back into the game.
Yeah.
He did all the things. I think he did his bit, whereas the people around him weren't good enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you'd put him in the England team yesterday, he would have been sensational.
Yes.
Yeah.
Picking his passes out. Yeah.
Yeah, picking those passes out. Like he was still like. When you see somebody like Modric yesterday, Eamon, like when they were at their best, he was an outstanding player.
Oh yeah.
But yesterday they're not at their best anymore. But he was still effective.
Yes.
It's a sign of a brilliant player, a great player in my opinion, Modric.
Yeah.
To do what he did even yesterday with the England match.
England have the Scotland to come on Friday, then the Czech Republic. So people are assuming that they will win the group. If they do win the group, they stay at Wembley. It's a big advantage to play at Wembley, of course, but they're not the only ones with that advantage. I think the Germans have the games as well in Munich, I think. France have to travel all the time. I want to ask you now about if England win their group, they play the second place team from the group of death. And the group of death is France, Portugal, Germany, and Hungary.
Right.
Hungary are definitely going to die, John.
Yeah.
We saw them last week. But it's a tough group indeed. And France begin tomorrow night, a match I know everyone wants to see. France travel to Munich to play Germany. Now, we did a preview with Didi, John, and he didn't think Germany were good enough.
Right.
And he thinks Lowe, the manager, has called back into the team Müller and Hummels, two players he'd left out, but he's brought them back in for the championship. But the point you were making about when England play a good team, well, they're going to either, seems to me, have to play France or Portugal. And Portugal are France, for obvious reasons, with the quality of their players, John. They are favourites to win the tournament, and rightly so.
Yeah, well, it'll be fascinating to see what. England. There's no doubt. England have a lot of good players.
Yes,
there's no doubt about that. I think they'll be there or thereabouts. But as we see in the papers, they did. They just got. But anyway, that's not our business. That's what they do. I think they'll be there or thereabouts.
Yes.
England.
Yeah.
As you said, they didn't.
They have the Mason Mount. Who really is very good, John, isn't he?
They've a lot of good players, Eamon. You got Harry Kane, who didn't play well on Saturday. Sterling, if he's doing his stuff like he did, and hadn't been doing it for months, is going to be a threat as well. So they've got a lot of good players.
Yeah, they also have Jadon Sancho and this young lad Bellingham. Bellingham is 17, John. He came on yesterday. He's only a kid. But I was asking Didi, Sancho plays for Dortmund now. He's an English lad who went there and said he wasn't getting his game wherever he was. And Didi said he's top notch. Both feet, quick, takes people on. Very, very good player. Now, I haven't seen him, and I don't know if you have. But
I saw him one match, but he wasn't in it. He only came on for a certain period in the game. So I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know him.
No, but it just underlines the fact that they have got choices. Yep. Just a question about Sterling yesterday. He played well and was up for it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The space he occupied on the left is space that normally Mason Mount would be sort of working in. I don't know if that is going to work. And it's interesting, isn't it, John, that Southgate, despite the fact that by his own standards, by any standards, Raheem Sterling's had a really poor season for City and wasn't picked. I think he only played 2 or 3 of the last 9-10 games. And it looks like they want to sell him. It's surprising the Southgate stuck with him, although you as an international team manager, I suppose a lot of international team managers say, well, he's done it for me. I'll ignore the club form. Would you have been like that?
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment, Edmund. I when I was managing the Irish team, I never picked players whether they were in the team in England or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what they do for you.
Yes.
And obviously he's a good relationship, and obviously it was in Sterling's interest, Eamon.
Yes.
To start playing again. Now we don't know what's happened at Manchester City. There's definitely been some fallout there between Guardiola and him, because in the papers recently, it looked right that the interest in Kane, that they were prepared to let Sterling and 1 or 2 other players go in exchange, but Sterling was mentioned in all the papers, I said. So, and the way he played for City in the last, since Christmas at least, Eamon, has been outrageous. Bad, outrageously bad.
Yeah.
But certainly from an international manager's team point of view, I'd say, well, now I have a relationship with him.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure he's done it for me before, and whatever problems he has in Manchester City won't affect him from I want to do. Yeah, I think that's right.
Now, I just want to briefly go back to Trippier. He's a right-footed playing left back when he has, and he's got in front of 2 outstanding left-footed left backs. That's going to hurt them eventually, because he's not a great defender anyway, Trippier, is he?
No, I never really fancied him, Eamon, to be honest. You know,
he went to Atletico Madrid, which Simeone is the man there, as we know. And he works his players very hard. He plays right back for Atletico. And he has played left back for England before for Southgate. But it is a really extraordinary... It'll come back to bite him, that decision, do you think?
I would think so, I mean, I don't think he's in the same class as the other 2 lads we mentioned.
No, he's not.
Now, I tell you what he might be in for.
Yeah.
Free kicks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they got one.
He's
they
very
got
good
one
at
in the
it,
second. Yeah, he scored a few. I think he's well known for that, Eamon.
Yeah.
So you never know. Some managers would do that. You know, put him in for free kicks.
Yeah.
You know, rather than an overall game, defending particularly. You know, I'd always pick a defender. How's he defending?
Yeah.
And you know, getting forward is a bonus. But particularly for free kicks. I mean, they only got one in the game.
Yeah.
Where he would come into it.
Yes. And actually, the lad in the wall did well.
He did it.
Yeah, I think that might have been heading into the net.
Well, it could have been, because he is good at it, and we've seen him before, where he has scored good goals from free kick, dead ball situations. I'd be amazed though at any manager picking somebody
for free kicks
for free kicks like that. Yeah, okay. I'd be amazed. But there again, he did pick him.
He did, yeah. Now, just to go briefly on to the teams that we think can win it. France, for obvious reasons, John, they have so much outstanding attacking talent in particular. Mbappe, Griezmann, the riches are embarrassing. Midfield, they have our friend N'Golo Kante. They have Pogba will play with Kante, which means Kante he'll have even more work to do, John. But they have got a really potent side. And the other team who are in the same group as France and Germany for the qualifying round, Portugal. They have Ronaldo up front. They have Fernandes from Manchester United, who's had 2 really good seasons at Manchester United. And they have Jota, who showed at Liverpool that he can be a goal machine. They have Ruben Dias, the Manchester City centre half, who I think made a difference. He certainly won Player of the Year. I think deserved it, John, because Manchester City's defence tightened up seriously this year, didn't it? From what it's been.
Yeah, he had a similar effect as Van Dijk, I think, came in.
Yes.
Maybe not quite as much, but getting there in that position.
Yeah.
But it was, I think, was it the last European Cup? Didn't Portugal win it, Eamon?
They are the holders, yeah.
The holders.
The way they won it really was keeping things tight. To give nothing away, Pepe is the other centre-back, John. They have Moutinho in midfield. I think they've got a real chance of being very, very difficult now and very interesting. Whether France or Portugal get out of that group to face England in the first game of the knockout stages in the last 16, it'll be very interesting indeed.
Well, it's a tough group, Eamon, as you say. I didn't realise it. I didn't realise what that group was.
Yeah, it's
that's a really hard one. To come to, but they have produced players in recent times. In the last 4 or 5 years, particularly Portugal. They always had good players, but they weren't winning. They weren't winning it. But now they've got enough good players to do it, and it'll be very interesting to see how they do go when we do see them anyway in this competition. We know about France, as you say. France have got some terrific players, and it'll be. It's a tough group, that's for sure.
It is a tough group, John, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out of it. Didi was saying that Germany don't look good enough. He doesn't fancy them at all, but they still have experience and they still have some quality. But France, you would think, and Portugal will be the two, and whoever finishes top of that group avoids England at Wembley. But if either of them went to Wembley, I think I'd fancy England to be on the way home. And if they are at home, but
they are at home. Yeah, but it'll be interesting. There's no doubt England will be up and about there. But it's all the hype that surrounds it. As soon as they win one game, but that's I suppose maybe it's the same in all the countries when the team are win a match. It's early days it's still early days for them.
Yeah, and I know you don't like making forecasts, John. So I'm not going to pin you to the wall. And I certainly won't drag it up. But who do you think might win this championship? Didi had no hesitation, by the way, but that's me, and I wouldn't have. But you're not us.
I hate making predictions until I see them play.
Yes,
I haven't seen them play, so you're guessing on the reputation of the teams,
right?
Whether it be Portugal and France, the teams that we were talking about, certainly look to have the players to do it.
Yeah. If I gave you a tenner, who would you back?
If I gave me a tenner, I would probably back France.
Okay, that's good enough for me, and I'm sure it'll be good enough for our listeners.
I don't want them to take any notice of that. I'm only guessing.
I know that.
Wait till it gets halfway through the tin, and we've seen all the teams a couple of times.
Okay.
And then I will give you. Won't hesitate at all to give you my opinion on what's going to win it.
Okay, John.
I won't try and bottle it.
No, you won't. It's been a pleasure as always, picking your brain. And we're very grateful to John Giles, the great John Giles.